I'm going to shoot this really quick because I am actually on my way to my second job. I just got out of my first job. I got out really late, and my second job is going to start soon. So I need to just shoot this intro super fast. And my second job gets out like right when the movie starts. My second job ends at 8, and the movie starts at 8. So this is going to have to be a quick intro to Rio 2. So Rio 2. I am only mildly excited. I don't even know if you could say I'm excited about it. Sorry if the camera's jumping around a lot. I'm trying to find a good spot to hold it because I don't have time to like set up anything. Yeah, I'm relatively interested in seeing it. Not really excited, more interested to see how they do with this sequel. Because I wasn't a huge fan of Rio. I liked it. It was fine. Rio is, it has some good jokes. It has some fun characters, some really good animation from what I remember. I've only seen it once. And I know my niece and nephew who are younger. My nephew is 10 and he's the younger of the two. I know that they really like it. I guess he would have been like 8 or 9 when he saw it then. 10. He would have been 10 because he's 11 now. Or is he? If my sister or my nephew is watching this, I'm really sorry if I'm getting his age wrong. But yeah, I know they really liked Rio, and it is a good movie, but it's not amazing, and I don't think that Rio 2 is going to be very good. It should be fine. It's getting decent reviews, but it's a sequel to a movie that wasn't that great to begin with. But who knows? It could be like Despicable Me 2, which I thought was way better than the first one. I wasn't a big fan of Despicable Me. It was also okay, but I liked it less than I liked Rio. And then I liked Despicable Me 2 more than I liked Rio. So I have no idea. The reviews on it are more or less the same as the previous one, maybe a little bit more negative. Like, as I'm taping this, I'm pretty sure on Rotten Tomatoes, Rio 2 has about a 68 or something at the moment, and Rio 1 had like a 73. But my expectations aren't that high. It looks like it could be fun. It looks like it could be good. I like Jesse Eisenberg. I like his voice acting. I feel like there are too many characters. And that's just from what I saw in the trailers. The trailers made it... I've seen the trailer like 12 times for a bunch of different movies that I've already seen this year. It seems like they're promoting Rio 2 up the wazoo. So I've seen the trailer like a bunch of times, and it never really caught my attention, except for the animation. The animation looks really good. Bruno Mars, I believe, is going to be in it. I believe that's the right guy, who plays like an ex-girlfriend of the Blue Macaw girl from the first movie, who I don't remember her name because I wasn't that into it. I wasn't into it enough to remember her name. But yeah, I gotta run. So I will see you after the movie and after work. Hope it's good. Okay, I just got done seeing Rio 2. Okay. I was supposed to see the movie last night, but the movie theater was having technical difficulties and I couldn't see the film. Saw Draft Day instead. Saw Rio 2 tonight. It's not good. And it's definitely not as good as the first film, which wasn't even a great animated film to start with. But Rio 2 was not a good film. Where do I even begin? I'll begin on a positive note. The animation in Rio 2 is really, really good. And it's really quite beautiful, actually. The movie itself is almost stunningly beautiful. And the songs were halfway decent for the most part. There is at one point the villain Cockatoo from the first movie sings I Will Survive for like no reason. Which is the way a lot of these songs just kind of came up. They came up with absolutely no reason whatsoever. I think that the producers or whoever they were trying to go for another Best Original Song nod at the Oscars. I am 97% sure that that's exactly what was going on. And it's not like this was a musical. There were maybe four original songs. And they were fine. They just had no point other than I think that the producers were trying to go for another Best Original Song Oscar nod. So yeah, the music is pretty good. John Powell does the score like he did for How to Train Your Dragon, and of course he's awesome. The animation looks great. It's a very beautiful movie. It's like the movie Avatar, which was very beautiful, very nice to look at. That's all it's got going for it. And I didn't see this movie in 3D. I saw this movie in 2D. I'm not so sure that 3D would have added a lot. It might have. Visually speaking, probably, but there is enough good animation in the 2D version that I don't know if the 3D version would have been totally necessary. Maybe. I mean, there were some pretty cool flying scenes that probably would have looked awesome in 3D. That's about all I got to praise about the movie. The voice acting was fine. You know, I really like Jesse Eisenberg. Anne Hathaway did a fine job. But there were way too many voice actors because there were way too many characters. I mean, they had like Bruno Mars in the movie. They had George Lopez, Will.i.am, the guy who played the villain from the first movie. They had this little frog chick who didn't need to be in it. They had like a different celebrity type voice going on. Like every minute of this movie had to be consumed with some kind of celebrity voice or some kind of joke, and it got to the point where it was almost exhausting, borderline irritating, like borderline really annoying too. The best way to sum up this movie is to quote a little girl who was in the theater with me. First of all, the theater was packed. Like, I almost didn't find a seat because I came in late. The theater was packed. Mostly families, of course. And they didn't stop talking. Like, the kids in the theater did not stop talking the entire movie. And that's not a good sign. Usually when I go to see a kids movie, if the kids movie is good, the kids will be quiet for the most part. Not always. Not always throughout the entire one. Not through the entire movie, but for the most part, they'll remain relatively quiet. These kids did not shut up in the theater at all throughout the whole movie. Sorry, I'm still feeling a little under the weather. But there was a girl in the theater with me who, at one point during a serious moment of the movie, she goes, "Uh-oh, something silly is about to happen." And of course she was right, because that was the formula for every scene in this movie. Every moment of this movie, it was like, serious, 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 punchline, something silly, serious, 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 goofy stuff happening over here, serious, 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 uh-oh, what's going on? We're a quirky movie. It's annoying. It was so goddamn annoying. And it's aggravating because if you had taken that stuff out, this movie would have been a lot better. It wouldn't have been great, but it would have been a lot better. And if you had taken out some of these secondary characters that we didn't need. First of all, we had like 3 different villains. We had a whole group of like red macaw parrots or whatever. It was like a whole flock or a whole gang of them. And they were like having some kind of turf war with the blue parrots. There was the cockatoo from the first movie who I guess survived the first movie, and now he's back, and he's got a little pink poisonous frog sidekick and a anteater that uses his tongue to make goofy stuff happen. And there was the human people who were trying to cut down the forest. That's way too much going on. Plus, you have Jesse Eisenberg's character, Blue, trying to impress his girlfriend's long-lost father and trying to win her over from the Bruno Mars parrot. Like, why? There was just so much going on. I mean, it's no wonder the kids were talking the whole time. They couldn't keep up with it, I'm sure. And why would they want to? Why would you care? You wouldn't care. Oh my God. And it's aggravating. Because like I said, it's not like the movie deserved all that. The movie was really nice to look at. It had some jokes that worked. There were like 3 moments in the movie where like every kid in the movie laughed. And that's it. And this movie is full to the brim with jokes, which it didn't need. I mean, do you remember that many jokes in The Lion King? Do you remember after like something serious happened in The Lion King, Timon and Pumbaa would come out and go, "Hey guys, we're gonna just glide off over here." No, it didn't happen. You don't need that crap. Take that crap out of the movie. I'm sorry, but that really bothers me. Like, it really does. It's like the movie is afraid or something. Like, it's afraid it's not going to hold the kids' attention if it doesn't have something quirky going on every 2 seconds. And it almost bothers me even more than it should. Because it's not like I hated the movie. I even enjoyed the first half. But about... not even the first half. It was like more the first third. There's... When the movie starts off as Blue and his family, his new family, are trying... By the way, you never learn his kids' names or anything about his kids, so don't even bother with that. But, no, that's not true. You do learn their names, but you won't remember them. But anyway, the movie starts off with Blue and his family going to find the other macaws, the other blue macaws, because they found out that there were other blue macaws in the Amazon. And from the time that they leave to the point where they find the other blue macaws, the movie is actually working okay. Yeah, there's a lot of unnecessary jokes that are going on, but it's not overly distracting. Like, they're pacing it out okay. And then, for a little while, it seems like the plot of the movie is Blue is trying to impress Jules. That's the name of his girlfriend's or wife's. That's the name of his wife. He's trying to impress her dad, and his dad doesn't necessarily think that he's unworthy of his daughter. He's trying to help him become more part of the tribe, part of their group. And if the movie had stuck with that simple theme and premise, it would have been fine. It would have been totally fine. But the writers weren't good enough, so they had to bring in the 2 birds from the first movie that I didn't remember at all from the first movie, but apparently they were in there. The Will.I.Am bird and the Jamie Foxx bird. The little red and the little yellow one. I don't know if you remember them. If you've seen the movie recently, then you probably do. If you're familiar with the movie at all, you probably do. I didn't remember that because I haven't seen the movie in a while. Sorry. I'm really sorry. But yeah, they are there too. And they're completely unnecessary to the plot. They're just there as filler to make sure that your kids don't get freaking bored. And the George Lopez toucan too. They're just there to make sure that your kids don't get freaking bored by this movie, which it didn't need. Again, there were too many. There were too many characters. That's my number one complaint. There were too many unnecessary, rudimentary characters that were just gliding on in there to make sure that your kids don't get bored. You had too many villains. You had the humans, who are always the villains in any environmental film except for The Lion King. And they're cutting down the rainforest, a la Fern Gully. You had the other tribe, and you don't know anything about them. They come in at the last, spoiler, they come in at the last second of the movie and they help save the day. And on top of all of that, you got the flippin' villain from the first movie, even though I think the first movie killed him off, technically. I'm not sure. Someone correct me, and I'm sure you will, but I feel like in the first movie they completely killed him off, but in this movie, oh no, he's still alive. Only now he has two sidekicks, a little pink frog, pink poisonous frog, who's, yes, adorable, but she's not necessary, and she's just there to be adorable. And he's got a sidekick, Aardvark, Anteater, who's just there to be goofy. I'm making circles because my biggest problems with this movie are really distracting me. Will your kids like this movie if you go see it? Maybe. It would probably keep them entertained because there was enough stuff going around, and if you go see it with them, you'll probably be okay because it's very colorful, it's very beautifully animated. You'll be fine. But as a movie in itself and as a sequel, it doesn't work. It doesn't work, and it aggravates me. Because it's not like it's terrible. It's not like... I think that's the biggest problem. Because if this movie had just been completely incompetent in every regard, like most animated sequels tend to be, if they're not in the Pixar canon, in the Pixar universe, if they're not that, animated sequels tend to be kind of bad. If this movie had just been completely incompetent, I wouldn't be this mad. It would be a worse movie, but I wouldn't be this mad. Because the movie isn't that bad. It's not terrible, but it doesn't... I didn't feel like it respected its audience. And I didn't feel like it was respecting itself. Like, it wasn't trusting itself to tell a decent story. It had too many characters who didn't need to be there. It had too many jokes that it didn't need. It would have a serious moment for like 2 seconds, and then they would have another joke. And the voice acting's fine. The music's fine. But I don't care. I don't care about that stuff. I care about this movie being a movie that years from now, little kids are going to be able to watch without going, oh, I don't remember this movie being this bad. I don't remember this movie being this pandering. I don't remember this movie doing all this crap. Because that's what you want from an animated film. You know, when I'm an adult, when I'm older and I have kids of my own, I want them to be able to watch How to Train Your Dragon with me. And I will show them How to Train Your Dragon, and they will love it, because How to Train Your Dragon is a wonderful animated film. I will show them the Toy Story movies and Finding Nemo and The Incredibles, and they'll love it. Because they're great stories that have a lot of respect for their audience. and they have a lot of respect for themselves, and they have a lot of confidence in themselves to just tell a good story without the need to pander and to present itself to the lowest common denominator. And that's what Rio 2 did. And that's not... And maybe it's just been a while since I've seen the first movie. But I don't remember the first movie being like that. And that's another thing that makes it really hard. That makes it really, really frustrating. Because I don't remember the first movie being that pandering and that stupid. I don't recommend you see Rio 2. You would be better off seeing the first one again. I know Muppets Most Wanted is still playing. Seeing that. If you've already seen that, if you've already seen Muppets Most Wanted, if you're really, really excited to see Rio 2, see it. You'll probably like it just fine and say that I'm just blowing smoke. And in many ways I am. Because it is beautifully animated and it does have a lot of jokes that maybe you'll like. But as a person who has a lot of respect for children and for movies, I can't recommend it. I can't recommend this movie at all. Well, anyway, that was Rio 2. I was probably a little angrier than I should have been. But there was just not enough about it for me to praise and to be impressed by, except for the animation and the music, some of it. And that's just the way it is. And I'm hoping that there are other animated films that come out this year that are much better. I think How to Train Your Dragon 2 is going to come out this year, so I'm banking on that being much better than this movie. If How to Train Your Dragon 2 is not better than Rio 2, if it's not even, like, almost as good as the first movie, you thought I was mad here. You haven't seen nothing yet. But anyway, have a great time in the movies, and I'll see you next time.